We continue working on the manual for the large intestine and kidneys. When the ascending and descending sections are tense, they press the ribs against the pelvic bone. As a result, it's impossible to create a waist here. The diaphragm pushes out the rib cage, which also increases in size. No waist. That's why we move the ribs. This is a technique we already have. But our task is to remove this tension. How are we going to do that? We will move the pelvic bone toward ourselves, the rib in the opposite direction, so that they move toward each other. We act reflexively on the attachment points to relieve tension from the large intestine. In addition to the large intestine, the lumbar muscle relaxes, mainly the quadratus lumborum, and then we gain access to the kidney. We reach the area of the kidneys. Here's the tension. What do? We simply use gentle, smooth movements, first in one direction, then in the other. Here, we try to grasp the last ribs, which are not connected to the costal arches. That is the 11th and 12th ribs. The kidneys are located right behind them. Your lower back also starts to feel better. Now you can feel the lightness coming in. We aim to get the intestine to come out right here. At the same time, the small intestine also starts to relax into the side areas. After a few such manipulations, we work from above, under the ribs, at the splenic flexure of the large intestine. We will do the same thing on the other side. But the left side is different from the right, because here we have the sigmoid colon, which is not present on the right side. So, when the hand moves here to avoid pain, we only go as deep as it naturally allows, and leave it at that. Therefore, to prevent pain, we move the tissues forward, and then move the tissues further. This hand deepens on its own, and that way it remains safe and painless. Our task is to separate the large intestine from the walls of the pelvis so that it can start moving. There is a small ligament there, which varies for everyone. For some it's minimal, for others it can reach up to 1 centimeter. We need to stretch this ligament. For individuals who frequently experience problems with chronic constipation, actively working with the sigmoid colon can significantly help to effectively eliminate this uncomfortable condition, meaning that normal and healthy peristalsis is fully restored and functions optimally. And in this way, we will make back and forth movements. We move the bones a little and the large intestine a little. We check. Now it becomes even softer, and the relaxation starts to transfer to the lumbar muscles. Very often, scoliosis is related to the fact that the lumbar muscles also have different tones on the left and right sides. They tilt the spine in relation to the pelvis. In this way, we balance the muscle tone The sigmoid colon has its own mesentery, but it's round. It's actually triangular like this. So it can spread out here in this area. In this same area, it remains stationary. Let me explain again. Here, I press my palm against the bone as if to hold it. Here, I scoop back the same way. I grab the costal arches here and press. And these are the movements. Order is restored very quickly. Now I can easily get under the ribs. Here, the large intestine starts to move away from the pelvic bone. And we need to increase this movement so that it moves freely. This is what leads to complete relaxation. Under my fingers, with which I control the quadratus lumborum muscle, it starts to relax. And now I'm not holding the intestine anymore. We take the intestine from both sides and sort of move it. But from one side, it's the quadratus lumborum muscle, and from the other, the intestine. And this is how we work. My task now is to achieve complete relaxation of the lumbar muscles. Then we will be able to reach the kidney. It becomes very easy to access. All of this is necessary for a massage therapist who is working on body shaping for the summer. The intestine stops being noticeable. As I mentioned in previous lectures, when an organ can be felt under the peritoneum, it indicates that it has some health deviations. In other words, it is engorged with blood. The blood does not leave. Our task is to achieve a state where, when we touch it, the blood instantly leaves, and it stops being felt as a dense mass. We simply know that it is there, but it is impossible to locate it by feeling for a dense area. The blood comes just as quickly and leaves just as quickly. That's why they all become the same in terms of tension. The range of rotation between the spine, the lumbar region, and the pelvis has increased. This precisely indicates that the lumbar muscles have started to relax. Now they are already halfway relaxed. The intestines themselves have stopped being felt as tense. In other words, it is impossible to locate them by touch. We simply know that they are there. If a person is experiencing pain, that pain needs to be eliminated. What do? We slightly reduce the amount of pressure and the speed of pressure. That is, pain occurs where the body does not have time to adapt to external influences. We, on the other hand, adjust to the speed of adaptation. There are very good responses in the lumbar muscles. We continue working. That is, an increase in the range of motion indicates that problems in the lower back are being resolved. well, let's say another 15 to 20% relaxation, and then we move on to the kidney. The pancreas is also located here. Here is the body's volume. We are mostly made up of water, so two organs are responsible for the body's volume, the pancreas and the kidneys. The pancreas is responsible for the intake and retention of fluids, while the kidneys are responsible for the excretion and also the retention of fluids. And the balance between these two organs determines our constitution, which is given to us for life and only changes over time. Minor changes. As you can clearly see, all of the internal organs within the body have become noticeably lighter as well, indicating a significant change. We completely smooth out the diaphragm. Here is the costal arch, and I literally move my hand 2 or 3 centimeters to the side. Press down. That's it. I don't press any further. Now I guide the tissues toward this hand. And now it sinks in on its own. My movement just goes like this, smoothing. So, we are meticulously preparing for the comprehensive adjustment of the vital kidney, the stomach, the pancreas, the spleen, and of course, the crucial diaphragm itself. Now I take hold in such a way as to grasp the lumbar muscle. And now, only along the spine does the tension remain. The quadratus lumborum muscle has completely relaxed, but the iliopsoas major is still tense there. The movement is very good, very light. Yes, good. And now, after we've done this, I press up from below. Here's the 12th rib. I partially place my finger on the rib, and these are the lumbar muscles. When I press up, the kidney becomes vertical, and here we reach it, we simply smooth it out, and it settles into place. If the kidney has issues, you can feel it by its density. If it's normal, we simply won't feel it, but we know it's there. But in any case, this kind of massage will never hurt. Because with the kidneys, we also restore the adrenal glands. What else do we need the kidney for? Especially the left one, because the ovarian vein connects to the renal vein. They are interconnected. And this is precisely how we effectively work with the kidneys. Here, the kidney is in perfect condition. The right side is done in the same way.